to explore phytopharmaceuticals from traditional knowledge. It means how we can harness the phytopharmaceutical products or drugs from our traditional knowledge-based data. Before going too deep in, I would like to share that earlier we have two systems. One is traditional knowledge of system, another system is drug discovery system. From the Ayurvedic traditional knowledge of system, we have the Ayurvedic system, Unani, Siddha, homeopathy, home remedies, etc., where we can register our products and then go forward into the market. And but it is fixed. It is fixed due to the authoritative transcripts. Whatever written into the transcripts, we can use only that information and make the product. In another way, we can go for the drug discovery programs, where we have to isolate the molecules and then we have go for the preclinical IND, NDA filing, and after that, after decades of time, we can approve single drug. So this is the program where we should lie, how we can lie ourselves. For example, our research. If we are harnessing, we are bioprospecting the plant materials, plants, we are making the extracts, then fractions, and then revalidated it. But how we can develop the product as a phytopharmaceutical? This is the problems where we cannot put our standardized extract or fractions as a product. So to make this as a product, we have a recently introduced phytopharmaceutical mode regulations in March 2019. And in these regulations, we can put our standardized fractions as a drug mode. Before going too deep into the details, I would like to share. Sorry, it's not working. My organization, I belong to CSIR, where we have more than 37 laboratories across the country. We are working for the niche areas of that particular locations. We are utilizing the bioresources of local relevance for the global significance. And I belong to CSR IHBT, which has the mandate of developing technologies to boost bioeconomy through sustainable utilization of Himalayan bioresources. We are working in 3 different domains. One is ecology and environment, where we are developing the databases, GI mapping, remote sensing, hyperspectral signatures for biodiversity, ecosystem services for biodiversity, and chemical signatures for the biodiversity, which includes the plants and animals. We have for the industry, we are isolating the therapeutic enzymes, making the standardized extract. We are exploring the traditional medicines. We are isolating the molecules. We are performing the quality control tests. We are developing the quality control methods. We are working in the area of food and nutraceuticals. We are working for the alternative sweeteners. For the society, we do have the mountain floriculture, then cultivation for the commercially important RAT species, rare, endangered, threatened species, and we are also working for processing of herbals and herbal teas. We have the vegetation land of Western Himalayan regions, where we have the herbs, shrubs, trees, etc. So as we know that the mans are born with diseases, and drug came into existence to cure, mitigate, prevent the pain of diseases. And also the nature has gifted us a beautiful biodiversity, which help us for shelter, food, and also for the therapeutic purposes, and to improve our health and well-being. India has a very big diversity, and that diversity contains a big varied communities, and every communities have their own traditions, and every tradition has their own traditional system of medicine to cure their health or diseases or painful disorders. In such a way, it means the traditional knowledge is linked with our modern system of medicines, are linked with our communities, linked with our day-to-day life. For that, the medicinal plants are one of the major contributors in the biodiversity, which helps us to cure, to mitigate the various diseases. For the concern of medicine plants, they are from approximately 3,500 million years of evolution life on the earth, 30 to 100 million species of life on the earth. Today, 300,000 higher plants, out of which 216,000 are in tropics. Over 75,000 higher plants are used by different cultures for medicinal and aromatic purpose. Over 15,000 higher plant species are used in Asia, about 7,000 in China, and 8,000 in India. What is the strength of our traditional medicine? We have the strength that they can be used for the challenging diseases for which our traditional system of medicines can be an answer, but the weakness is lack of quality assurance of raw material, medicinal plants, lack of consistency in quality in batch to batch production of the product. Number of plant species which are associated with our traditional system of medicines are listed in the by the National Medicinal Plant Board, and we have the global market also. So as per the concern, we have the folk traditional system of medicine, Ayurvedic system of medicine, Siddha, Unani, homeopathy, Tibetan, and modern system of medicine. These are the system of medicines which are documented as authoritative in the authoritative books, are transcribed in the local languages, are by mouth, practiced by mouth to mouth. And for that concern, we have the global market for these traditional medicine raw material as well as the finished product. In the world, they are the major player of the markets are Europe, North America, Asia, Japan, and others. And India is also contributing 7 to 8% in the global market for traditional raw material as well as traditional system of medicine concern. Then generally what we do in our research, for example, if in master degrees or PhD degrees, we are generally bioprospecting our bioresources using our traditional knowledge. We go for the survey through that man to man, indigenous, traditional, ethnobotany, ethnopharmacological texts. We follow the folk-care claims by mouth to mouth, and then we find the gap, which kind of problems we have to take care. We have to provide the solution for a particular problem. So after deciding the problem, we will visit the area and we collect the samples. Then we go for the taxonomical identification, authentications, whether the claimed plant is the same or not. After that, after the authentications, once by making the herbarium and authentications, we got the herbarium number or authentication number from the authorized laboratories or recognized herbarium centers. And after that, we will go for the physicochemical tests, etc., to screen all that raw materials. Thereafter, we go for the chemical fingerprinting, identification, and then isolating and characterizing the chemical moieties. After the isolation, purification of the bioactive molecules through modern analytical tools, we go for the pharmacological investigations. Before that, we go for the safety studies also, acute and chronic studies for small duration and long duration, and then the targeted biological activities. Then we go for the toxicological or clinical trials. Once we establish that our product is, or our extract or fraction is safe, then we go for the toxicological studies, other toxicological studies and clinical trials. Once it is approved from the clinical trials, we develop the formulation and licensing and marketing. But this is the general way to follow. But what we do in our master degrees and PhD thesis, we will not follow the targeted lines. We will stop. For example, if chemical group people is working for bioprospecting, then he do only the chemoprospections and little bit in vitro or in vivo activity and stop his research. If one pharmacologist is working on these investigations, he will target that this is the claim in traditional knowledge, I have to validate it and then finish my thesis. Similarly, pharmaceutical people, they think that, okay, this is a herbal extract, I have to formulate it in the form of phytosomes or in other nano drug delivery system, etc., and finish his job. But no product in these lines, we cannot convert our research into a product. Today's necessity is to build nations. We have to convert our research into a product. So how we can? If we talked about the Ayurvedic system or traditional system of medicine, we have to follow the exclusive formulas. We have to follow only that, and we have to prepare our formulations according to the text mentioned in the Schedule 1 of the authoritative books under Drug and Cosmetic Act or other. But it should be followed strictly through the authoritative books. In the another way, if we have isolated a molecules, then we have to go for the IND filings. It will take time, and then after IND filing, we have to go for NDA approvals, then clinical phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4 post market survey, etc. And it also takes a time. This is the drug discovery route. We have the idea, we have the biological target, we have the chemical compound, we have the lead, and then we have developed a candidate. We have go for the extraction, fractionation, isolation, and then a drug candidate. We have to select a drug candidate. Then we have go for the preclinical studies, safety, efficacy studies in small animals and then mammals, etc. And then filing a IND. For filing IND, we need the whole data. Then we have to go for the clinical studies. With the clinical studies, we have go for phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. Phase 4 is post-marketing surveillance. Out of this, we need more than 5 or decades. The good thing is that from the natural resources, within 10 years, we have 1 or 2 new drugs available in the market as compared to the synthetic origins and the others. And this is the some of the list from 2004 to 2014, where India has contributed 2 drugs, reserpine and disogenin, reserpine for antihypertensive and disogenin for anti-fertility. So these are the molecules which are isolated from the traditional medicines and then converted into a drug. But these are some structures of these drugs which are available. Now they are also synthesized, the total synthesized. But the problem is here in our research, we are most of the time we are extracting our extract with different solvents and then fractionating with according to the polarity. If our extract, then we validate our extract for some biological activity. For example, if it is useful for cardioprotection, so we validate that our extract is helpful in the treatment of cardioprotection. And by back, if we revisit that, we have just validate our traditional claim that this particular extract is useful for this particular disease. We cannot use in traditional system of medicines the solvents. We need to use the green solvents. We can use alcohol, ethanol, or only water or their mixture, or by the physical or chemical, by the physical and mechanical methods, we can extract our extract. But further, we have to revalidate which kind of molecule is responsible for particular activity. For that, we go for the polarity-based fractionation. We go for the polarity-based fractionation right from non-polar to polar, N-hexane. Then we go for chloroform, ethyl acetate, and butanol, and then the residual. Meanwhile, we are also performing the chemical profiling of that through our modern analytical techniques, LCMS based or NMR based, etc. Here we characterize our extracts, fractions, and these fractions contains a number of molecules present. Then we again go for the biological screening for these fractions for biological activity. If finally we found that our fraction is more potent than our extract as compared to the single isolated molecule, then here we will place this fraction in our drug regulatory system. So before March 9, 2019, we does not have any regulations where we can put these fractions as a drug molecule. So now we have a phytopharmaceutical mode where we can put These fractions are unreached extracts or purified fractions as a drug molecule, as a phytopharmaceutical molecule. But it has some conditions which we have to follow. It needs 4 minimum bioactive markers. Our extract or fraction should be characterized with minimum 4 bioactive markers or chemical markers. The bioactive marker, 4 bioactive markers is non-negotiable. It should be, but if it is not bioactive, then it depends upon case to case. We have to provide the justifications, but need to be screened with the 4 minimum chemical markers. Similarly, for example, what we do in our daily routine research, this is, I have taken this example, Picrohexia curva. This is Himalayan plant available in the high altitude area of Himachal Pradesh and throughout the Himalayan belt up to the Nepal. It has some, if you see, there is some scripts written in Sanskrit or Sanskrit where Dhanvantari Nigantu has shown his traditional claims that it is used for the jaundice, liver disorders, indigestion, fever, viral hepatitis, diabetes, hyperlipidemia, hypercholesterolemia, cardiac disorders, cancer, nephro problems, etc. So these are the traditional claims. What we do with these traditional claims in our routines, we, for example, a chemist go for the chemical prospections. He developed the method HPTLC, and then he justified that I have profiled through HPTLC, then I have profiled through LCMS, I have identified this much molecules, and then he published a paper in good journal. Then our science is within the PDF. Later on, he also prospects, he made the standardized protocols, standardized analytical methods to characterize or to standardize the method, but it is for only for the quality control. Similarly, the another example, Polygnathum verticillum, which is traditionally known as Palam Mishri, or this is one of the major drug in Ashtvarga of Ayurveda. It is available throughout the Himalayan range, and traditionally it is used for the treatment of fever, malaria, cancer, convulsions, and sexual problems, where we have bioprospecting these plants in the point of view chemical ecology, and then with the help of the metabolomics studies through modern analytical techniques, we have characterized each and every part of this particular plant, and then found some fluctuations from alterations of the metabolites. Some are present in fruit, leaves, and rhizomes, and then compiled the data and published in a good journal. But can we convert these publications into a product? This is the question. Again, we have isolated from the same plant 6 molecules, steroidal saponin or steroidal and steroidal saponin type of molecules. So these are the 6 molecules which are isolated from particular plant. So can these 6 molecules play a role in phytopharmaceutical mode or not? Can we convert this into a research into phytopharmaceutical mode? We have to answer this. Then again, we have in Himachal Pradesh, in Palampur, there is tea states. So there are underutilized part of the tea states. We have through metabolomic approaches screened all these stuff underutilized parts, and then concluded that these underutilized parts can be used for making a value-added product. It can be routed through phytopharmaceutical modes or under food and supplement mode. We have compiled this data and published in good journals. But can we all these good publication converted into a product? Can we? So these are the questions. Publishing a data is good, but converting into a product is most important, because product can be boost our bioeconomy, can we build our national growth, and provide the satisfaction for the one researcher who is working for development to contribute for the society. So how we can contribute? So I have compiled a schematic diagram. Through this diagram or through this practice, we can convert our publications into a product. Very first, we have to go for the traditional knowledge, folk care claims, community practices, home remedies, mum's practice. Here we can get the clue for which plant or which raw material is used to which kind of problems, which kind of health problems, diseases, disorders, because every traditional medicinal practices, system of medicine practices have their own authentic way to prove that this is useful. This is by the practice, this is well proven. So, but routinely we are following the untargeted route. We are just bioprospecting and publishing the data and putting that data into a storage dustbin or our storage bag. And we will not think that we can convert this research into a product. So first we have to think about that. We have to follow our traditional knowledge. From there, we have to select particular problem that we have to address this problem. And for this particular problem, what is the right plant or right solution, right biodiversity or traditional knowledge based inputs. Once we get the input that X plant is useful for by treatment by disorder, which is chronic in nature, then we have to take that particular plant. We have to authenticate that particular plant. After the authentication, we have to go for chemistry manufacturing control processes of raw material. It means we have to follow some guidelines. It may be in pharmacopoeial guidelines. It may be our IU system of guidelines. We have to follow that, and we have to check or screen our raw material. First, we have to authenticate it through the proper herbarium. After getting the authentication number, we have to collect the material, sorting it and dusting, and then cleansing the raw material, and then set for some parameters, then analyze for some parameters. It means the chemistry manufacturing control parameters, which is physicochemical parameters listed in our Indian pharmacopoeial standards. If it is not listed in Indian pharmacopoeial systems, then we can follow the other pharmacopoeias like USP, BP, or other countries' pharmacopoeias. Then we have to check it for microbial load, pesticidal residue, heavy metals, etc. Once our raw material is passed, then we have to prepare the standardized fraction or extract for extract, and these extract or enriched fractions can be placed for under phytopharmaceutical mode. After preparing the standardized fraction or extract from our research, we again go for the CMC, that is chemistry manufacturing control of prepared product, that may be standardized enriched extract or fraction or purified combination of purified molecules. For that, we have to analyze that with minimum 4 bioactive markers or chemical markers. After getting screened it with 4 analytical markers, we have the data that this much of quantity is present in our extract, and thereafter we have to perform the safety studies of that particular product, that particular fraction. After getting the safety studies, we can get this safety studies data from the published data also. If we have the more than 5 years published data about the safety of this, and then we justified that these fractions or this enriched extract is safe enough, then we can go for the bioactivity studies for the particular claim. And then for bioactivity studies, we also perform that 4 minimum markers which are identified and quantified into the extract or the fractions. We have to then check the bioactivity of that particular molecules, whether they are bioactive or not. If they are bioactive, then we have to provide the data of this 4. If the 4 are not bioactive and 2 are only bioactive, then we have to provide the justifications, or we have to look another two biomarker which are available in the extract. But it varies from case to case in the IND filing. In the IND filing for phytopharmaceuticals, we have some questions which we have to need to address from our research. Then human intervention studies. These research are basically should be in NABL or regulatory approved laboratories, GLP or GMP. But in the institutions, we can follow this route and we can prepare our data and then again revalidate it through the regulatory approved laboratories, GLP or GMP laboratories. Some of the institutes have their own GLP facilities, approved GLP facilities. They can do their GLP, for example, clinical and preclinical, they need the GLP laboratories. So they can perform their GLP laboratories, in their GLP laboratories, the analysis. And manufacturing, some of the institute does not have the GMP facilities, but they can hire the GMP facilities from the GMP manufacturers or GMP laboratories, and the data should be analyzed finally from the NABL accredited laboratories. So there are some questions in filing the IND, investigation new drug. Similarly to the drug discovery program, it has also some parameters which need to be addressed. For example, drug substance, as we discussed, that if it is a extract, enriched extract or fractions are not a molecule, then we can simply write it as it is a pharmaceutical drug comprising a standardized extract or fraction of X plant. This is enough. But what is the phytopharmaceutical drug now? It is defined as a standardized enriched extract, purified and standardized fraction with defined minimum 4 bioactive or phytochemical compounds qualitatively and quantitatively assessed of an extract of a medicinal plant or its part for internal or external use of human beings or animals for diagnosis, treatment, mitigations or preventions of any disease or disorder, but does not include the administration of parenteral route, as we cannot administered through the parenteral routes our traditional medicine. Similarly, the phytopharmaceutical products cannot be administered through the parenteral route. Then the next question comes there: structure formula, molecular formula, and relative molecular weight, if applicable. As we know that our drug is phytopharmaceutical drug, and it does not have the single, it is not a combination, it is not a single molecule, it is a combination of the molecules that it is enriched fraction. So simply we can write it as it is a phytopharmaceutical drug, thus above entries are not applicable. Then next is trade and non-proprietary name of the drug substance. We can simply write here as standardized enriched extract fraction of X plant. Drug substance information must be submitted for each drug substance in the product. Now we have a standardized fraction, a standardized enriched extract, which is prepared through mechanical, physical, or chemical ways. So we know that minimum 4 biomarker is required, but I have listed here 8 biomarker molecules. Now we have to provide the information about these 8 or minimum 4 bioactive or chemical markers. They can be bioactive or they cannot be bioactive, but we have to provide their information like their structure, their NMR data, their peak purity, etc. Then we have to provide the general, next is general information of starting material and raw material. We have to provide the data of the raw material used to prepare this phytopharmaceutical drug, whether it is from the leaf source, root source, fruit source, rhizome source of X plant, whether it is from captive cultivation or wild cultivation. So for that, we have to fill this some of the parameters. For example, botanical name, genus, species, and family. We can simply get this information through our taxonomist. Here I have taken the example of Picrohiza. So genus is Picrohiza, species Curva, authority Royal Accent, family Sacrophyllaceae, and authentication by XYZ, the recognized herbarium laboratory at CSIR IHBT. It can be Botanical Survey of India or other any authoritative recognized herbarium. Then we have to provide some morphological and anatomical descriptions of that particular material. We have to provide the geographical location and distribution. For example, presently our material is present in northwestern Himalayan region from Kashmir to Sikkim. In India, it is also found in Nepal, China, Pakistan, Bhutan. We have also provide the information of its distribution first in India and then in the other countries. Then our material is renewable or destructive. If our material is destructive because we have used the root and rhizome, which is a destructive nature, but it is in under cultivation, so we can use this. Otherwise, it should, we have to take the material into under the cultivation. We have to make the efforts through captive cultivation programs and make our raw material available through the captive cultivation to reach into the market. Then source, whether it is cultivated or wild, our material is both cultivated as well as wild. Source of plant including its geographical location, season of time of collections. So we have to provide the geographical locations from where we have collected the material, month of collections, time of collections, altitudes, etc. Then determined to be endangered or threatened. Threatened, yes, our Picroiza curva is threatened in nature, but now in agro practices are under cultivation and extracted from only farmer field and our cultivation sites. So we can prove that we are not harming the biodiversity, we are just using the captive cultivation source. Then if any known genotype or chemotype or ecotype variability of the species are available, we have to mention there. So currently we do not have this kind of variability available. Then harvest location we have to clearly mention, growth conditions we have to clearly mention. Then collection, washing, drying and storage condition of the raw material we have to mention in our study. I have talked about this CMC of the raw material. What is CMC of the raw material? This is chemistry manufacturing control. We have the physical parameter like loss on drying, alcoholic, soluble extractive, water soluble extractive, foreign matters, total ash, acid, insoluble ash. These are the preliminary physical parameters which is mentioned in the IP, Indian Pharmacopoeia. If it is not available in the Indian Pharmacopoeia, we can follow the other pharmacopoeial standards or other analytical standards here. We have to need to screen minimum three batches under NABL accredited laboratory, but in routine research we can screen 3 batches in own laboratories and revalidate it through the NABL accredited laboratories. Then we have to check the microbial load of our raw material. If it is within the permissible limit as mentioned in the standard by the regulatories, then our material is good. Then aflatoxins, heavy metals, arsenic, cadmium, lead, mercury, etc. Then residual pesticides. For these parameters, we have to screen our raw material. If it qualifies that our product is complies all these parameters, then we go for then next fractionation, extractions, and then biological activities, etc. Then another question arise that identification of critical step in the process and the control. So very first raw material should be passed CMC as per the regulatory. Extraction solvent must be prepared as per mentioned in the document as we have practiced. Extraction vessels, all the equipment required for processing must be neat and clean and as per GMP. The extraction temperature should not be exceed the permissible limit as mentioned. Similarly, we have some parameters, critical point which we need to be addressed. Then they require the flow diagram of our manufacturing process. So we have to provide the flow diagram, how we have prepared that extract in the GMP conditions. We have taken the raw material, we have qualified our qualified raw material through the testing, then passed raw material we have percolated, then fractionated, or by the mechanical ways we have spray dried and made the enriched extract. Then passed regulatory guidelines, then process solvent, which kind of solvent we have used, then drying of extract or making the fractions. We have to provide all that details in under which we have used in the GMP practices. Then we have to provide the batch details, manufacturing date, etc. If possible, the certificate if we have hired this particular services from the outside. Then another question is description and characterization of drug substance. This we can simply write it as this phytopharmaceutical drug is a standardized hydroalcoholic extract of X plant. Minimum 8 biomarker compounds have been isolated, characterized, and analytically quantified with the help of our analytical method in the raw material of the X plant. And we have selected A, B, C, D, 4 major phytochemical of this phytopharmaceutical drug for the chemical analysis and analyzed in 3 batches. For example, for Cyclohexaquerua, we have made this analytical methods, and through this analytical methods, we have analyzed 3 different batches where the consistency of the molecules in the final way is same, and it means that our batches are quite enough for the phytopharmaceutical mode. After assessing, there is another question comes are in the requirement, physicochemical structures and empirical formulas. Then we can provide the formula or formula name, structure, empirical formula, and molecular weight of the compounds or bioactive markers, at least minimum 4. If we identified more than 4, then we can go for that. Then another one is physicochemical properties, rotation, partition coefficient, dissociation coefficient. For phytopharmaceutical drugs, we have again the IP or Ayush or through regulatories have mentioned that minimum requirement of this is to pass these parameters, which are mentioned in our Indian Pharmacopoeia Standard, USP Pharmacopoeia Standards, or any standard regulatory authorities parameters. We have to follow that, and then we have to check our consistency of that particular parameter in 3 different batches. If it complies, then we go ahead. We have to provide all these data. Then we need the analytical data, elemental analysis, how we have characterized our material. Then the extract was characterized based on the chemical marker or major molecules of the plant. Therefore, they were isolated. Moreover, the isolated molecules were characterized as follows. These molecules can be procured and then checked for the analytical purpose. The peak purity of the compound was more than 97%. It should be more than 97%. If we go for the bioavailability studies, then the peak purity should be more than 98%. Otherwise, we cannot go for the pharmacokinetic studies, etc. So there is a requirement that our isolated molecules or other procured molecules should be more than 98% or analytical grade. Then we have to provide complete monograph or specifications of our product as per our research. Then impurities. If it is a single molecule, then there is a chances of impurities, because if it is 96%, 97%, but will be the other impurities there. But in the case of phytopharmaceutical, our raw material is based on our raw material is plant based, and quality depends on the root raw material quality of X plant. For example, root and rhizomes of the X plant. Moreover, such impurities are not known which is found in synthetic compound. Hence, the quality passed material only used in the manufacturing of standardized extract and fractions. Once we qualified the CMC of our raw material, that material is used for the manufacturing our product. So there is no chance of impurities and other impurities in between them. Then manufacturing should be in the GMP certified unit. It can be in the institute, it can be in the industry, it can be in other laboratory, R&D laboratories. Then the residual solvent and other volatile impurities and estimations, if you have used, or we have, for example, we have used the ethanol water in a ratio which is a green solvent, and there is no issue after spray drying for the residual solvents. But if we have fractionated our extract and prepared enriched fraction with the ethyl acetate and others, then we have to go for the headspace GC and provide the data of the solvent residue. In the similar way, if there is a solvent residue, then we have to remove that solvent residue and prepare our product solvent free. Then manufacturing process for a drug substance, we have to provide the flow chart for the our manufacturing process parameters. We have to highlight extraction condition, fractionation conditions, which kind of solvent we have used, which ratio we have used, what are the parameter, temperature parameter, extraction time, drying time, etc. We have to take care all that things through the flow charts. We have to provide this. Then we have to manufacture 3 batches, and one should be from the GMP grade. Then validations, estimations of our phytochemicals into our product. We have to provide that data also. This phytopharmaceutical product does not have assay method, but analyzed by HPLC or UHPLC for qualitative and quantitative determinations of its chemical markers or bioactive markers. Moreover, the product is also analyzed by the regulatory parameters as mentioned earlier, the CMC of the finished product. Then the next is manufacture. The phytopharmaceutical active ingredient should be manufactured through the GMP recognized laboratory in the country or any place. Then we have to provide the stability of drug substance. For example, if we have a single molecule, we can provide the stability accelerated or stability study through its qualitative and quantitative estimation through UPLC, HPLC. But in case of extract or enriched extract or fractions, it is difficult. So we generally use the NMR based fingerprints or IR based, FTIR based fingerprints to check whether there is changes in the fingerprints or not, and we can also check for the stability. Here check for the stability is the 4 minimum chemical markers, and that should not be exceed than with the standard deviation plus minus 10. Then we have to provide the storage conditions where we have to store this. From the stability studies, we can conclude that our material should be stored in particular temperature with particular humidity or in other place, dark and cool place away from the sunlight, etc. It should be sealed in double PP bag, etc. So these are the storage conditions. So here we have some highlights. Nomenclature and proximate analysis of the raw material is important. CMC of the raw material is important, which should be NABL accredited laboratories. But in the research, we can go through our institutional mode. We can test by ourselves in our laboratories, research laboratories. Then chemical profiling of the raw material within minimum 4 chemical markers. Then we can go for the manufacturing of our product through GMP facilities, and then chemically characterize that particular material. Well characterized 3 batches along with 4 compounds as required can be submitted, and then stability data is important. These are some of the highlights. Then some of the question arises in our mind: what is phytopharmaceutical drug? So these drugs came into existence between the two traditional system of medicines and drug discovery. This is the intermediate regulation known as a phytopharmaceutical regulation, which came into existence in 19th March 2019, where they have clearly mentioned that the phytopharmaceutical drug is a drug which include purified and standard fractions or enriched extracts with minimum 4 bioactive or phytochemical compounds, which are qualitative or quantitatively assessed. And these extracts or fractions is only for the internal and external use of human beings or animals for diagnosis, treatment, mitigations, or preventions of diseases as per the rule 2, but it cannot be used through the parenteral route. When a phytopharmaceutical drug is considered as a new drug, as per the rule 122E in drug cosmetic rules, a phytopharmaceutical drug which has not been used in the country to any significant extent under the condition prescribed, recommended, or suggested in labeling thereof, and has not been recognized as effective and safe by the licensing authority mentioned under Rule 21 Drug and Cosmetic Rule for proposed claim is considered as a new drug. How does pharmaceutical drug differ from Ayurvedic Siddha Unani under Section 3 of Drug Cosmetic Act 1940? As I have discussed earlier, that Ayurvedic Siddha Unani drugs includes all medicine intended for internal or external uses, similar to the phytopharmaceutical drugs, but exclusively in accordance with the formula described in the authoritative book of Ayurveda Siddha Unani System of Medicine specified in first schedule. They should be authoritative in nature. However, phytopharmaceutical drugs can be a fraction, can be enriched extract, are distinctly differentiated by purified and 4 chemical markers. Then the definition depends with bioactive phytochemical compound qualitative. Should 4 bioactive phytochemical compounds need to be assessed quantitative or qualitative? Yes, four chemical markers need to be identified in the our enriched fraction or extract. It is ideally for all of them are bioactive. Hence, the conditions of identification minimum 4 compounds from the fraction is non-negotiable. As I have earlier discussed, the number of compounds with bioactivity may vary, may consider on case-to-case basis based on the justification submitted by the applicant. Then, does a new phytopharmaceutical drug undergo clinical trial in India? Yes, the data requirement have been specified in Appendix 1B of the Schedule Y of Drug and Cosmetic Rules. Clinical trials for phytopharmaceutical drugs to be conducted as per applicable in the rules and guidelines for new drugs. For all phytopharmaceutical drug data from phase 1 to determine maximum tolerated dose and associated toxicities, and the protocol shall be submitted prior to performing the study. Data of results of those finding studies performed and the protocol shall be submitted prior to performing the studies, provided that in the case of phytopharmaceutical drug already marketed for more than 5 years or where there is adequate published evidence regarding the safety of the phytopharmaceutical drug, the study may be abbreviated, modified, or relaxed. It depends upon the data submitted to the authority. How and where to apply these phytopharmaceutical drugs? Application for the grant of permission, we have to import or manufacture new phytopharmaceutical drugs are to be made in Form 44 prescribed under Drug and Cosmetic Act. Then new drug applications are currently required to be filled online to DCGI office. Whether online submission application or phytopharmaceutical drug is available? Yes, online and offline both are available. Otherwise, you can submit the hard copy to the CDSCO. Then, what are the fee structures for this grant? Application for the grant of permission to import the new phytopharmaceutical drug under Form 44, there are some minimum charges, 50,000 applicable. Similarly for the manufacturing. Then the question arises, what are the fees to be paid along with the application for grant of permission to conduct clinical trial for new phytopharmaceutical drug? Clinical trial phase 1 application form 44 and similarly form 44 for phase 2 and phase 3. However, specified under rules 122 DA that no fee shall be required to be paid along with the application by central government or state government institute involved in clinical research or conducting trials for academic or research purpose. Application for import of new phytopharmaceutical drugs for purpose of examination, test or analysis, they have mentioned the prices, charges. We have to pay that and then we can go for the same. Where and how to deposit the funds? Through online portal, through online in different, there is mentioned the bank names. Here we can submit our form with, submit our fees through online mode or offline mode. Then what are the conditions to be submitted based on the disease nature of phytopharmaceutical drug and duration of treatment? The applicant may submit as much as available document to establish safety, efficacy of the phytopharmaceutical drugs as specified under Schedule Y of Drug and Cosmetic Rules. Whether parenteral formulation of phytopharmaceutical drug can be considered for market authorization in India? No. As I have mentioned that phytopharmaceutical drugs cannot be entered through the parenteral route. It is only for internal and external uses. Can phytopharmaceutical drug can be sold without prescription? Is it prescriptional drug? So this is under the CDSCO, Central Drug Standardization Unit. So this is with the DCGI would specify this aspect, and but it should be through the registered medical practitioner. What are the current GMP requirement to manufacture phytopharmaceutical drugs? GMP requirement for manufacture of drugs are prescribed in the Schedule M and under the Drug and Cosmetic Act rule. So we have to follow that. However, presently there is no specific GMP guidelines for finalized for phytopharmaceutical drugs, but we have to follow the following parameters. For example, we have to manufacture our drug through the GMP certified laboratories or chains. We have to assure our raw materials with the CMC, and then we have to prepare the drug as per the GMP conditions. What shall be the pharmacopoeial standards for a phytopharmaceutical? Currently, no phytopharmaceutical drug has been approved by the CDSCO, Central Drug Standard Control Organization, as a new drug meeting the definition of phytopharmaceutical drug. As and when CDSCO will approve a phytopharmaceutical drug, the aspect of including a monograph in IP would be considered, keeping in mind in various other factors. What shall be the quality standard of raw material used for phytopharmaceutical, IP or USP, etc.? The applicant will need to provide adequate information, including specifications and test methods for raw botanicals, processed botanicals, forming the phytopharmaceuticals, and the formulations of the phytopharmaceutical as prescribed in the Schedule 1 of Appendix 1B of Schedule Y of the Drug and Cosmetic Rules. The applicant should adopt a monograph of any of these parameters as per the general standard prescribed in IP. If not prescribed in IP but included in the official pharmacopoeia of any other countries, same may be followed. So these are the parameters which we need to be addressed, and this phytopharmaceutical regulation, as I have mentioned, that it is in the Gazette of India in 19 March 2019. So our researcher can route for their research through this phytopharmaceutical mode. If they have fractionated and they feel that their fraction is more potent than their extract or traditional medicines, or the way of isolating molecules and then approval of as a single molecule as a drug is long time consuming, then he can go through this phytopharmaceutical mode and register with these parameters his product, and the approval depends upon the data submitted to the phytopharmaceutical regulatory authorities of India. Similarly, we have in our laboratory, I have contributed some products which are converted from PDF to product in the last few years. So we have developed the immunity modulator, which stimulate the innate as well as adaptive immune response by regulating Th1 cytokinin level and modulate T cell subset population in preclinical studies. This product is licensed to Rigved as for immunity modulator. Then we have developed from traditional knowledge base, we have developed some products, cosmetic products, that is herbal hair oil. It is for antifungal and for dandruff. Then herbal hand wash we have developed and licensed to the industry. During the COVID-19 mitigations, we have developed SDS, SLS, and mineral oil-free natural herbal soap, which have the effective antifungal, antibacterial cleansing and moisturizing benefits, and also important during the COVID-19 mitigations. It has also benefit to remove the COVID-19 virus. So we have licensed this technology. We have developed the hand sanitizer, which is licensed to the parties. And as per the IND concerned, we have filed one IND with ICMR and Central Drug Research Institute, CDRI, Lucknow, as a phytopharmaceutical mode for Picrohexacurva recently. So we have the idea from there how we can file the INDs of phytopharmaceutical drug which I have shared with you, and hope this is useful for you during the research. Thank you very much. This is our group which is working on phytopharmaceuticals and plant-based research. Thank you very much.
Amrita ma'am, over to you. It seems ma'am has lost the connection. So I'll continue. Sir, with your permission, can we take the questions first?
Yes, madam, you can go ahead.
Dr. Dinesh sir, can we take the questions, sir?
Please.
There are a few questions in the chat box.
Okay.
So I'll just read it out for you.
Okay.
First is, which method of extraction can be carried out for metabolomic profiling of crude drugs? This question is from Mr. Satish Meshram, sir.
Our metabolomics extractions, we have to check which kind of metabolites we need to be extract. We cannot go for the very first sample preparation is important. There is two type of sample preparation we can perform. One is we can store our plant material into the defreezer or under the nitrogen. We crush the material under the nitrogen and then extract with the desired solvent. For example, if we need the number of metabolites, both polar and non-polar nature, we have to use the mixed kind of solvent. For example, ethanol and water is the good solvent to extract these metabolites, and then we go for the further metabolomic studies. We can use this for metabolomic studies, but if it depends upon your analytical tools, which kind of analytical tools you are going to be used. If you are going to be used for metabolomic studies, LCMS, MS, then you have to use, then you can use the ethanol water or methanol water kind of solvent. But if you go for the NMR, then you need to deteriorated solvent, hydroalcoholic solvents, where you can find them both primary and secondary metabolites easily available. And this kind of conditions you need to be take care.
Sir, on the similar lines, there is one more question. Can methanol be used as a solvent for extraction, or if any methanol extracts are available in the market?
Methanol, as the concern of the solvent, it is a wood alcohol. So we generally avoid this solvents for extraction, for development of phytopharmaceutical or traditional system of medicine, because it not comes under the green solvent. But if we go for the isolation and characterization of a single molecule, we have further fractionation, we can go with the methanol. But we need to be assured that the residual solvent should not be there in our extract. So better to use instead of ethanol.
So there is one question from Dr. Abhijit Arun. If two edible plants are used in a food composition and they have no toxicity as per literature, do you think consuming them in combination may have some toxicity, or do we need to establish the toxicity of the combination?
If it is a food stuff, for example, if you want to use two food together, you can use this. I think there should not be any kind of toxicity. But if you extract it and you will not follow the authoritative books and others for its combinations, then sometimes what happens, if you extract with the X solvent of a one food material, bisolvent with other material, and then you made the combinations, then there are much chances of accumulation of some toxic, maybe toxic phytochemicals which can harm. So the food material should be the combined as per the practices or as per the authoritative books.
So there is one question: which techniques can be used for determination of residual solvents? Like, what are the
GC
acceptable
head-
techniques?
Headspace GC we can use to check these residual solvents.
So there is one more question. I'll just read it. It just came. How it is fixed and that as a minimum of 4 bioactive markers are needed for standardization of extracts?
First, we have to go to the literature, which kind of molecules it contains, and we have to isolate the molecules, then characterize them, and then again revisit to our extract and then profile that particular isolated molecules. It should be more than 4. We can, from the literature, we can get the idea of the molecules. It contains the polyphenols, for example, it contains rutin, quercetin, camphor, etc. But when we go for the screening, it does not present in the present in your extract or in the extract in the extract, because it depends, sometimes it depends upon the extraction techniques also. So for that, it is the better way to you prepare your extract and then isolate the molecules. Then you fix that these 4 bioactive molecules is confirmedly present in your extract, and those bioactive or phytochemical markers you can use for screening your studies. And in future, with the batch to batch consistency, you can confirm that these 4 biomarkers are present in your extract. So those bioactive markers we have to take care.
Sir, in continuation with that, there is a question from Dr. Sanmuga, whether your research unit possesses any reference standards for phytochemicals, if they can be procured from there.
We are not providing, but we are isolating the industrially important molecules. We do have this kind of chemicals in our repository. We do have in our laboratory the repository of the phytochemicals. So they can contact with us. So more than 97% purity we do have.
Okay. And for metabolomic study by using NMR, which solvent is preferred for extraction with the help of liquid nitrogen, and how it is derivatized? That is a question. I think it was a yeah.
So I would like to clear here that for NMR, it is nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy. So deuterated solvent we required for the analysis. So liquid nitrogen, generally what the biological people they do, they store their sample in the liquid nitrogen and crush into the liquid nitrogen. But in the metabolomics, there are some hierarchy of cold, you can say cold burning is there for the phytochemicals. So some molecules of desired molecules may get chance to deteriorate. And similarly, if you store in extract through the percolations and other, there are also some chances. So it depends which kind of molecules we require to extract. So we have to use those techniques. It can be through liquid nitrogen, or it can be direct grinding. So we can use the deuterated solvent to extract that. So both the way there are chances to deteriorate the molecule, both in liquid, through liquid nitrogen and through your traditional